Up until the point where the handover from Kuala Lumpur to Ho Chi Minh took place, everything was completely normal. And then the blip representing the airplane and all of the data disappeared from the screen. Suddenly there's nothing there. MH370, the pilots should be talking to Ho Chi Minh City. And you would have thought that they'd get onto the telephone and say, "Have you got him? Can you see him?" But that didn't happen for quite some time.
My operations control center called me about 1 hour after we lost contact with the aircraft. So I opened my iPad and looked at our flight following system, and I saw 4 other flights, but not MH370. That flight was missing. That really made my hair stand. I felt numb.
At that point I asked, so what else is going on now? And I was told that they were continuously making calls not only to the aircraft itself to try and establish contact, but also contacting air traffic control, our other aircraft that were in the sky at that time, and also neighboring airlines that also had aircraft operating for them to make contact with our missing aircraft. The severity of the situation is increasing all the time because of the failure to communicate with the aircraft, and our search and rescue is being activated.
I was asleep. I had my first message at about 5:30 in the morning. The first question that my friend asked me is, "Are you alive?" That was the first thing. And then it was a flurry of messages after that. Beep, beep, it kept on going on, and so I stopped sleeping. I said, "What are you talking about?" "Gina, a plane is missing. Our plane is missing." I couldn't move. I felt paralyzed. Because it could have been me or my other friends.
Good morning. An international search and rescue operation is underway after a passenger jet disappeared over the South China Sea early this morning. The Malaysian Airlines plane from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing had 227 passengers and 12 crew on board when it suddenly vanished from air traffic control screens.
I was a student in the UK at the time, had just come home, and I received a call from my dad, and he told me something happened to the plane your mother was on. When I found out about the flight, I just grabbed my passport and I carried my handbag and I just walked out the house.
A friend called me up and just asked just this simple question, "Where's Patrick?" So I said, "Well, he's flying. He's working. He's gone to Beijing." So she said, "Do you know that there's a flight missing? And can you just go and check?" So the only person that I knew to call is his best friend, who is a captain for Malaysia Airlines. So I called and he said, "I'm so sorry, but his flight did not land." So I said, "Then where is it?" So he says, "They don't know."
The aircraft is due to arrive in Beijing at 6:30 a.m. local time. So time is running on, and the challenge we face is that we don't have any more new information. We're not able to still contact the aircraft.
I was working for a French multinational in China, so all the family was living there in Beijing. My kids were in a French school, and my wife was there. So when this happened, I was myself on a plane from Paris to Beijing. And they were on a plane from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. They were coming back from a nice vacation in Malaysia. I remember arriving in Beijing. Chinese lady were waiting for me, saying, Mr. Watrolo plane, can you please follow me? And suddenly we enter into a room, and in this room there was the French consulate. He said, Guilain, the plane of your family just crashed down into the sea. That's all he told me. He said, we don't know what happened.
My brother 给我打电话来，我记得当时特别清楚的就是，电话接通之后，他支支吾吾的，半天说不出话了，娃娃飞机出事了。
I remember arriving at that hotel. All the cameras, all the media were there. You go out from the cars and then everyone jump on you and try to grab you, you know. Everyone wants to have your opinion and whatever.
Here in Beijing, hundreds of family members and friends of the passengers on board have gathered in the hotel. They're growing increasingly frustrated by the lack of information about their loved ones.
当时是一片混乱，那个房间里充满了就是哭泣，各种各样的此起彼伏的哭声。大家只能都是站着，连个坐的地方都没有。我们后来一直就把那个房间一个地狱，只能用这个词去描述它。
We started talking to them and I said, look, we don't know where the aircraft is. We still don't know, but what we can confirm is that the aircraft is no longer flying. It's either at an airfield somewhere or it has crashed, but it's run out of fuel. And at that point in time, the room erupted and suddenly I got bombarded with people throwing bottles of water at me. And I was not prepared for that.
Good evening. 6 Australians are among the 239 people feared dead after the disappearance of a Malaysia Airlines plane en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing.
What I didn't realise was that Kathy was actually really worried about taking that flight. She was constantly saying, is everything okay? What sort of airline are they? And, you know, just reiterated, hey, that they're one of the greatest in the world. I don't know why you're worrying. And I just didn't realise that inner gut feeling that you have, how on the mark she was.
We were invited to participate in the investigation. At that time, the assumption was that the airplane would be found soon. It's kind of difficult to organize an accident investigation when you don't even know what happened yet. You don't even know where the airplane is. You don't have witnesses.